This is Anna, and I'm here with Larry Chiang at the TechCrunch headquarters. And TechCrunch, thank you so much for letting us use your space. It's really awesome.
It's really nice.
It's fancy, and we're going to be talking a little bit about mentorship. So Larry, can you please give me some tips on how women should approach other women to be their mentor?
That's a uber hard question, especially for me being a male. Oh my gosh, I just hit my microphone.
Whoops.
There's definitely interesting dynamics between a man mentoring a man, which is what I write on in my chapter 6 of my book on what they don't teach you about mentorship. But I have observed a couple things that I think might be interesting, if maybe I should share those.
Yeah, let's talk about them, because personally when I entered the industry I had some trouble approaching other women to be mentors. Because what I found is a lot of females in this industry are really competitive with one another, and that's why it's kind of difficult to find somebody that really wants to help you move forward.
Okay.
So can you talk a little bit about that and just tell me a little bit about your experience with that, or women that you've seen trying to approach other mentors?
Sure. It's an interesting dynamic when women mentor other women, where it's completely different from a man mentoring another man. I can maybe coach not necessarily as a female entrepreneur who's coaching other entrepreneurs, but I can observe these things, which is there's an alpha, like an alpha person, a beta, and a gamma. And I think that if you are a female entrepreneur rising, where you might see yourself as a beta or a gamma and you're approaching an alpha, to ebb and flow, and number one, to be comfortable approaching that alpha and expect some barriers to meeting up because of just scheduling, or just from they don't know exactly who you are. So I really encourage a couple of things. One is campaigning with not a barrage of emails up front, but just like spaced evenly throughout. And then I also encourage pre-reading, pre-researching subsequent meetings, where you're reading every snippet of things, especially if they wrote them in a book. Books are easy. I mean, just read their book. I mean, before I met Paul Graham at startup school, in the 4 or 5 years ago, I read Hackers and Painters, which Orrin Hoffman gave me to read, which pre-reading the person's published writings is critical.
Yes, and what would be some other things once you actually start a conversation with that woman, or if you're a woman talking to another woman, what are some great questions to ask? Should you talk about the book that they've written, or just mention some accomplishments that they've done, or just talk them up, or what would be the best way to approach them then to kind of be more inclined to get a mentorship from that person?
What I do is I try to mimic and learn from my yoga mentor, Giselle Mari, who teaches Ashtanga. She teaches a special Jivamukti. It's awesome. She says to set an intention for your practice. So if you've got a mentor relationship, set an intention for that mentor relationship, and constantly evaluate and look into where you are in that mentorship. Because if it's going the right direction, where if you're the alpha or you're the beta rising, look at maybe where you're at with your relationship with that person. And don't forget little comps, meaning compensation. I'm not talking about cash compensation. I'm talking about small gifts of appreciation that say, look, this is a person that's helped me. And in a more public setting too as well, or blogging about that person. Social media also makes it really easy to say, hey, at Anna on the web really helped me out with TechCrunch Studio interviews by juggling her schedule, or at Amy Saper, or just at Amy because she's on Twitter at just Amy, helped me out with an introduction to this and mentorship on that. And social media makes it easy, where you don't have to put it in Business Week or in TechCrunch or whatever. You can still thank that person and compensate them that way.
No, that's really good advice. And how long should a mentorship last? Forever, or
sometimes
just as long? Okay, as long as you let it last, and as long as the other person is open. And
even after the person even passes, is in my case with Mark McCormack, he still has an existing organization called International Management Group, and they still comp me to sporting events, Fashion Week. I released my book not at a bookstore. I released it at Fashion Week, because well, if my bad book competes with 230,000 other books, it's going to be not better than 229,000 of them, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And what's a good place for another woman to find a mentor?
I love networking events, okay. I love more so the campaign for where they're at and supporting what it is that they're supporting. Where initially they're not going to know who you are, and if you're asking for time, you're just another thing on their to-do list. But this is my little maneuver for my how to get an awesome mentor. I've had Scott Rafer as a mentor. I've had awesome people, even Mike Arrington, which, you know, in the transition from corporate to entrepreneur to person who sold his company to conference producer. I mean, there's a lot of transitions that he made. I recommend supporting whatever it is that they're supporting. So if they love youth at risk, helping to support youth at risk. If they love a toy drive, helping promote their whatever existing philanthropic good cause, young entrepreneurs who don't computer code very well. Just whatever they're supporting, they're promoting, look to promote too.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all this great advice, Larry.
Thanks.